All right, if you're a product leader, you've probably been there. You ask your teams about customer discovery, and you hear that it's, well, complicated. Today, we're going to cut through that complication. We're breaking down a framework that turns this whole headache into an automated, effortless part of your team's DNA. But first, I want you to think about this. Really think about it. I'm not talking about the time they spend in the interviews themselves. I mean the hours, sometimes even weeks, spent just finding people. That friction, that soul-crushing admin work, that is the silent killer of continuous discovery. The problem isn't a lack of will, it's a broken system.
And this friction creates what we call the discovery bottleneck. Let's be really clear here. This is not a people problem. It's a process problem. It's a system that takes what should be a simple conversation and bloats it into this huge, complicated project.
You know, Teresa Torres absolutely nailed this in her book, Continuous Discovery Habits. She says the biggest blocker is the friction of recruiting. That's it. That is the key insight right here. So we have to stop trying to force more discovery and instead start engineering a frictionless way to recruit.
So what does this look like in the real world? Well, it looks like two very different teams. On one side, you have David's team. They're basically flying blind, right? Making big bets based on gut feelings and data that's months, maybe even years old. And then you've got Maria's team. They invested in a system. They get fresh insights every single week. They're not working harder, they're learning faster. And they're shipping features that actually move the needle. The difference isn't effort, it's infrastructure.
So, how do we get from David's world into Maria's? Simple. We build a machine. Let's walk through the framework for how to do it.
Okay, this is probably the most important part. This whole thing requires a fundamental mindset shift. Recruiting stops being this annoying, one-off task that your team dreads. It becomes a piece of permanent infrastructure. It's not a chore, it's a strategic asset you build and automate, an engine that powers your entire discovery habit.
And this machine, it runs on three main channels. First, you've got in-product recruiting. Think of this as your automated high-volume pipeline for general users. Next up is customer-facing. This is where you leverage your amazing sales and support teams to pinpoint users with very specific problems. And finally, there's the advisory board. This is your VIP list, a pre-recruited panel for those really deep strategic insights. You start with one, but getting all three running creates this unstoppable flow of feedback.
So what's the end game here? What's the dream state we're trying to achieve? It's this. Your team wakes up on a Monday morning, looks at their calendar, and there's already a customer interview scheduled for that week. And they did zero manual work to make that happen. When you get this right, the path of least resistance becomes talking to customers. You've made the right thing the easy thing.
So where do you, as a leader, fit into all of this? Your job is not to build the machine yourself. Nope. Your job is to be the executive sponsor. You're the one who clears the path and provides the resources for your team to build it. So here's your playbook. 4 simple things. First, change your question. Stop asking, have you talked to customers, and start asking, what does our recruiting machine look like? Second, fund it. This is a high-leverage investment, so treat it like one. Third, run interference. You clear the political roadblocks so your teams can connect with sales, marketing, whoever they need. And finally, and this one is huge, celebrate the system, not the heroic effort. Reward the team that builds the sustainable machine, not the one that pulls an all-nighter.
Okay, we've covered the problem, the framework, and your role. Now let's make it real. Here's exactly what you can do on Monday morning to get this whole thing started.
Don't ask your team to boil the ocean. Just ask one of your product trios this one single question. What is one small thing we could do this week to make it easier to talk to a customer next week? That single question reframes the entire problem. It turns it from a massive project into a small, achievable step. It's the first turn of the gear in your new recruiting machine, and it could fundamentally change the cadence of your entire organization.